According to the Dogon, the Alien Nummos Duality and androgyny extended to the god Alma, who they identified with both their creator and the universe itself. The Nummo discovered Alma's existence as a result of an experiment in space, the outcome of which couldn't be interpreted any other way. They determined that there are fail-safes embedded into the universe to prevent it from being altered or recreated in any way. In other words, from someone trying to equal God or Alma. I'm Shannon Dorey, and I've written 4 books about the Alien Nummo and the Dogon religion, and this is my 4th video. Ogatameli described life and death for the self-fertilizing amphibious Nummo as being like a snake shedding its skin. Because they could remember from one lifetime to the next, the Nummo could build on what they had learned from a previous existence. Because of this, and the fact that they existed in the universe before humans, provided them with an extensive understanding of science and astrophysics. Dogon knowledge of the universe is found in The Pale Fox, an English translation by Dr. Stephen Infantino, published in 1965, of Le Renard Paul. It was written by the French anthropologist Marcel Griol and Germaine Dietrich, who is shown here in the 1998 French documentary film Parole by Jean Rouch. Dietrich lived for over 20 years in Mali, researching Dogon and Bambara beliefs. The Pale Fox, which was published 9 years after Griol's death, is a great reference for understanding Dogon's star knowledge and astrophysics. It has taken me many years of research to get an understanding of it. The Dogon believe that Alma's duality and balance provided immortality to the universe, and that when our universe eventually reaches its end, that Alma will close himself up and keep half of the life of it, so as to make another universe from it. This is a Dogon drawing of a closed-up Alma. This suggests a never-ending existence where one universe dies and another one is born from its ashes. The Dogon called this duality the creative dance of Alma. The in Alma's name is a reversal of the Ma, with the two together creating the cosmic balance. I believe the part signifies the Big Bang and the expansion of the universe. This is an artist's concept of the expansion of the universe depicted over 13.77 billion years. I believe the Ma part signifies the universe's contraction, which some physicists refer to as the Big Crunch. According to the theory, this is when the expansion of the universe eventually reverses and the universe recollapses, which is eventually followed by another Big Bang. The Hindu symbol or Om is the first sound of the Almighty, the sound from which emerged each and every other sound, whether of music or of language. I believe the part of Alma's name is associated with the Hindu or Om. According to Joseph Campbell, Om is God. Om is goddess, sound. Barbara Holdredge described Om or Om, essence of the supreme consciousness. According to Annette Wilkie and Oliver Mabus, the syllable is often found at the beginning and the end of chapters in the Vedas, the Upanishads, and other Hindu texts. I believe that Amen, spoken at the end of Christian prayers, also evolved from Alma's name. The Helix Nebula shown here is a planetary nebula located in the constellation Aquarius, 650 light years away, and is sometimes referred to as the Eye of God. According to the Dogon, the universe formed when Alma opened his eye. As the eye burst forth from the hole, it had become a light that illuminated the universe and revealed the existence of all things in their formation. The Dogon associated Alma's hands with the rays of the sun and Alma creating the world. In the Dogon religion, the word was a metaphor for both DNA and matter, and the sun's rays were associated with the 22 articulations or sounds involved in creation, which the Dogon identified with the word. The opening of Alma's eye was associated with the opening of Alma's hand, making the eye-hand symbol on this American rattlesnake disc particularly important. This disc was plowed up in the 19th century by a farmer in Moundville, Hale County, Alabama, and is housed in the Jones Archaeological Museum. In this photo by Jeffrey Reed, we see opposing dual-horned serpents, associating them with the horned serpent-like Alien Nummo. You can see the image clearer in this sketch. It may also be related to the Jain vow of ahimsa, depicted as a hand with a wheel on the palm, which symbolizes the ancient Indian principle of nonviolence towards all living beings. It is found in the ancient Dharmic religions, including Jainism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Sikhism. In the Prakrit and Pali languages, the word Dharma is rendered Dhamma, which may have some ancient linguistic association with the Dogon word Ama. We could also associate the rattlesnake disc with the yin and yang symbol referred to in my third video, and which is believed to form the basis of the cosmos. It is identified with both the Chinese Fuxi and the Mexican Quetzalcoatl, both figures who were associated with the Christian Apostle Thomas. Alma was primarily male, but androgynous, and the Dogon described the universe as emerging from the womb of Alma. An androgynous creator god is also described in Genesis 1:27 of the Bible, which reads, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female he created them." Joseph Campbell referred to this passage when writing about Elohim, another name for God. He said, when made in the image of Elohim, Adam and Eve appeared together, then Elohim must not have been male alone, but androgen. The Dogon word for soul was kindu kindu, which meant soul, soul. Ogatameli indicated that the Nummo had ended up on Earth because their world had been destroyed, and the Earth was the only planet available to them. Once here, they combined their DNA with the animals of Earth and as a means of adapting to the planet. My research associates the Alien Nummo with ammonites, a type of cephalopod destroyed at the same time as the dinosaurs about 65 million years ago. This particular ammonite from Madagascar existed about 110 million years ago. Cephalopods that exist today include the nautilus, the squid, shown here, the octopus, and the cuttlefish. Cephalopods have characteristics that relate to the Nummo, including the fact that they don't have backbones and are shapeshifters. They can change color in an instant, much faster than the vertebrate chameleon, and match their surroundings perfectly. This photo by Nick Hopgood depicts a broad club cuttlefish with dark pink coloration seconds before changing to white. Cephalopods have a blue blood pigment called hemocyanin. Instead of the bright red pigment, hemoglobin, that all vertebrates use for carrying oxygen, the significance of this is that hemocyanin contains copper rather than iron, and the two most important elements identified with the Alien Nummo were water and copper. According to Roland Dixon, one translation of the Hawaiian creation myth, the Kumalipo, suggests that the octopus is the lone survivor of a previous age. The Greek sea goddess Scylla was sometimes depicted as an octopus. She was also a shapeshifter and associated with swallowing myths, which were referred to in my third video. She's shown here on an Italian Campanian vase by the Ixion group and dated 340 to 320 BCE. According to Caregni, she was named Tarsenus, the Etruscan, and her mother was identified either with either the sea goddess Lamia, referred to in my third video, or the goddess Hecate, who was likely a Greek version of the Egyptian frog goddess Heket. This is a statue of the Egyptian Heket dated to 2950 BCE and located in the Cleveland Museum of Art. The frog was a symbol of the amphibious Nummo. In this particular image of Scylla, she appears dual with a fish's head projecting under her waist, with a long snout, horns, and protruding teeth. The British Museum describes a band of feathers at the juncture between her female and fish bodies. In her left hand, she holds a cuttlefish. According to Robert Graves, the cuttlefish appeared prominently in Cretan works of art, including the standard weight from the Royal Treasury at Knossos, and also on megalithic monuments at Karnak and elsewhere in Brittany. In my third video, the Mexican Quetzalcoatl and his twin Ekakat appeared in this post-conquest Tovar Codex. Quetzalcoatl's red-faced twin, which is depicted emerging beside his human head, looks like the figure twinned with Scylla on the red-figured Campanian vase. Quetzalcoatl's virgin mother, Shamalma, has squid tentacles emerging from her head in this picture of her from folio 9 of the Codex Laude. Two squid appear in this other picture of Shamalma and her twin from folio 39 of the Codex Laude. Her red-faced twin's hand and pointed finger are being associated with the squid tentacles. The Codex Laude is a pre-Hispanic Mexican manuscript, possibly made in the 15th century. According to the Dogon elder Ogatameli, the first humans were immortal androgynous beings, like the alien Nummo. In my book, The Master Mistress of Speech, I associate the amphibious Nummo with the mangrove killifish shown here, which is an amphibious fish found on Earth. Not only do the mangrove killifish have the ability to live both in and out of water, like the alien Nummo, but they are also self-fertilizing, like the Nummo, having both male and female reproductive organs. Ogatameli told Griol that the Nummo were not only amphibians, but by a special dispensation permitted only to them, they were able to fertilize themselves, being dual and bisexual. Although 85% of killifish are born as self-fertilizing hermaphrodites, 15% are born as single-sexed males. These brightly colored males are born with the sole purpose of providing genetic diversity to the species. I believe the alien Nummo procreated much the same way as the killifish, and that everything was fine on Earth until one of these single-sex males was born. It was at that time that the Nummo realized that something was very wrong here. According to Ogatameli, there was born, instead of the intended twins, a single being known as the jackal. And the jackal, who was the first single-sexed male human, was born soulless and did more things than can be told. He was also known as the pale fox in the Dogon religion. The Dogon attributed the destruction of the earth to the actions of this first male human. I believe that in Europe, the jackal or pale fox became associated with Reynard the Fox. William Toms wrote that Jacob Grimm in his Reinhard Fuchs, published in Berlin in 1834, provided evidence that stories of the fox and wolf were known to the Franks as early as the 4th, 5th, and 6th centuries. This mosaic from the first half of the 3rd century from Sousse, Tunisia, depicts the wolf or fox holding a caduceus. My research associates the Greek god of thieves Hermes with the thieving Dogon jackal. It was as a result of a theft by the jackal that the earth was destroyed, and as a result, thieving was severely punished in the Dogon society. Hermes also carries the caduceus, a symbol I associate with DNA. The two horned individuals, besides the fox, may symbolize the twin or androgynous horned Nummo. In Europe, the adventures and downfall of the trickster fox are shown in narrative scenes of several misericord carvings. Misericords are hinged seats in choir stalls of medieval churches and cathedrals that, when turned up, not only display pagan carvings, but give support to someone standing. This misericord is found in Carlisle Cathedral in England, created around 1400 to 1419, and shows the fox biting the neck of a goose. According to Dr. Christa Grossinger, the fox was the most cunning of animals, always deceiving others. In the story of Reynard the Fox, it's the cock Chanticleer who, because of his vanity, gets caught up by the fox. But on the misericord, it's usually the goose. She describes how the fox is to be interpreted as the devil, and the fowl as the gullible humans who are taken in by the devil. Here is another misericord of Reynard from St. Pierre Church in Ellen, France. In this painting in the margins of the Book of Hours of Utrecht, dated 1460, Reynard wears a monk's cowl. This is another interesting painting of Reynard the Fox wearing a pope's mitre, preaching to the geese and other birds, dated from 1300 to 1400 from France. It's found in a royal manuscript in the British Library. The artists are associating the Catholic patriarchal religious leaders with the male jackal, the evil in the Dogon religion. Many pagan symbols which are associated with the Dogon religion were carved on misericords. Because the carvings were only shown when the seats were folded up, when folded down, the carvings could be hidden from Catholic inquisitors. Many depict mermaids, such as this one at Carlisle Cathedral. The mermaid is associated with the seventh Nummo ancestor, referred to in my third video. She was 4 parts Alien Nummo female and 3 parts male and human, making her primarily female. She was described as having the perfect combination of human and Nummo DNA and was considered the hope for humanity. She had a human upper body and a fish-tailed lower body. On this misericord, she holds a mirror which, according to Harold Bailey, was the mirror of perfection, a familiar attribute of truth. In the Wisdom of Solomon, divine wisdom was described as the brightness of the everlasting light, mirror of the power of God. The seventh Nummo ancestor's DNA was used in the third and final experiment so that a being like the jackal or pale fox might never be born on earth again. In the third experiment, the Nummo removed most of their DNA from humanity. In doing so, humans were turned into single-sexed mortal beings. It was hoped that by doing this, that humans would eventually find their way back to truth, androgyny, and immortality. According to the Dogon, the separation of the androgynous ancestors was necessary in order to restore order to the earth. This separation of the twins was an important aspect of the Dogon religion. I believe that Mary Sophia's Assumption, which was referred to in my third video, is also about the separation of the twins. The twins were depicted with 7 angels on either side in this painting of the Assumption by Torino Vanni, who lived from 348 to 1438. In this painting, Mary Sophia holds the belt that she leaves her twin Thomas when she ascends. According to the Gospel of Philip, when Eve was still in Adam, death did not exist. When she was separated from him, death came into being. If he enters again and attains his former self, death will be no more. The Jewish text Genesis Rabbah 8 reports that Adam was created with 2 bodies, one of which was cut away from him and formed Eve. In conversations with Ogotameli, or Dieudo, as it was known in French, and referred to in my first video, Marcel Griot described how most of the conversations with Ogotameli were about twins and of the need for duality and the doubling of individual lives. He wrote about the twinning of the 8 original ancestors and how, after this generation, human beings were usually born single. Dogon religion and Dogon philosophy both expressed a haunting sense of the original loss of twinness. I believe this mural painting from the Han Dynasty from 206 BCE to 220 is depicting the 8 Nummo ancestors as they were known to the Dogon people. They were part Nummo and part human, and described as having human upper bodies and fish or serpent-tailed lower bodies. In the middle of the drawing is Noah with her compass and Fuxi holding his set square, which were described in my 3rd video. Some of the figures have horns like the Nummo, and 2 are depicted as serpents, but they all appear to be dancing. Oktmeli said that it was the 7th Nummo ancestor who taught humans how to dance, which was associated with the swallowing and regeneration myth and the creative dance of Amma. Because of the experiment in space, Amma's balance was disrupted. And as a result, we lost our second sun, which also affected our duality and immortality. According to NASA, our sun is unusual in that it is alone, as most stars do occur in multiple or binary systems. The Dogon believed that over time, Amma would correct this imbalance. They described 3 red giant stars being involved with the regeneration of the solar system and the return of our second sun. Red giant stars, which form at the end of a star's or sun's life, are the basis of the swallowing and regurgitation myths. As they expand, large red giants swallow all celestial bodies around them and then explode as supernovas to regenerate the universe. In the Dogon religion, they were considered pregnant suns and were symbols of the divine feminine and the Nummo as the regenerators of the earth. I believe this painting of the androgynous Fuxi and Noah, found in the National Museum of Korea, reveals the immortal twins and the dual suns, suggests that in the beginning the yin and yang symbolized the 2 suns or stars. This is a painting during the Tang Dynasty showing Noah and Fuxi pointing like Shamalma's squid twin on folio 39 of the Mexican Codex Laude. The moon was created at the same time that our second sun was lost, so a new moon became a symbol of the lost sun. In the Dogon religion, the male jackal and humans were symbolized by the moon, and the androgynous, primarily female Nummo were symbolized by the sun. In classical Chinese, yin is associated with the moon, Taiyin, and yang with the sun, Taiyan. In this painting of Fuxi and Noah, unearthed at the Astana Hela Hojo ancient cemetery in Japan, we see that the second sun at the bottom has now been turned into a moon, containing a rabbit, a cassia tree, and a toad. On the top is the sun depicted as a 3-legged crane. According to Shinking Shao, in Western Han Dynasty silk painting, cranes are depicted standing beside Noah. They are associated with longevity and have a spiritual meaning where they are a form of divine bird which travels between the heavens and the human world. The 3 legs may symbolize the 3 red giant stars or suns. I believe the 3-legged crane is synonymous with the 3-legged crow, a symbol of the sun dating back to 5000 BCE in the Yangtze River Delta area. This depiction of a 3-legged crow is from a mural of the Han Dynasty dated from 206 BCE to 220, found in Henan province. According to Catherine Ball, the 3-legged crow was usually colored red instead of black, further associating the bird and the 3 legs with the 3 red giant suns. A gorgon with 3 legs appears on this ancient Roman coin located in the Archaeological Museum of Florence, which associates the 3-legged bird with the gorgon and the Nummo referred to in my 3rd video. The 3 legs and the sun appear on this pottery from Sicily in the Museum of Agrigento. In my 2nd video, I described the triple serpents appearing on the red picture stone found in Gotland, Sweden, in the Porcelain Museum. The stone from Smith's depicts a Sheela-na-gig holding 2 serpents with 3 entwined serpents above her. The 3 red serpents are the same shape as the Gorgon's 3 legs and are sun symbols. DNA-like strands appear on this stone along with the color red. There are some instances in art when the Chinese fengwang bird, which is associated with the phoenix, has 3 legs. The phoenix is a bird that rises from the ashes of its predecessor and is associated with the sun. This is a 5th century mosaic of a nimbate phoenix from Daphne, Antioch in Roman Syria at the Louvre. Notice the roses in the background, an important symbol associated with red giant stars, referred to in my book, The Rose on Dogon Star Knowledge. According to Brenda Rosen, the fengwang bird originally consisted of a separate male feng and a female wang as the yin and yang. A common Chinese term for a set of male and female fraternal twins is dragon and phoenix infants, suggesting the 2 figures were originally twinned. Eventually the feng and the wang merged into a single female entity, and the Chinese dragon became associated with the male. The earliest known form of the dragon phoenix design dates back to the Yangshao culture 5 to 3000 BCE. This painting of the dragon and phoenix was found at an archaeological site near Fion. In this picture, the phoenix appears to be reaching out to grab the serpent or dragon. This later 13th century Bindin sculpture from Da Nang, Vietnam, in the Museum of Cham shows Garuda holding a Naga serpent. Although Garuda is described as eating the Naga, I believe the eating may have originally had to do with the swallowing and regurgitation myth, which had to do with the regeneration of humanity and the temporary separation of the twins. This is another image of a red Garuda from Java, Indonesia, holding a green serpent with a grayish-green bird in his mouth, which I believe is about regeneration. This is another image of Shamalma from folio 39 of the Codex Laude, holding her red serpent twin with a red figure emerging from her twin's mouth, suggesting the swallowing and regurgitation myth. A similar depiction appears on the coat of arms of Mexico, where the eagle appears with a rattlesnake in his mouth. The rattlesnake on the Mexican coat of arms was originally reported to have been an aquatic serpent, but was changed to a rattlesnake in 1917. In Mexico, the image was associated with the founding of Tenochtitlan, which is today Mexico City. The symbolism of the sun and moon and the twins appears in another version of the founding myth of Tenochtitlan in the Tovar Codex, and the twins are depicted in the front of the painting, emphasizing duality. Instead of the serpent, which was shown on the Mexican coat of arms, the eagle has a green bird in his mouth, not unlike Garuda from Java, shown earlier. In the Mexican Tovar image, the twin on the left is identified with the moon rabbit, which was also depicted on the Chinese banner of Noah and Fuxi from Turpan. In the Tovar Codex image, the twin on the right is identified with the cactus and eagle, which are sun symbols. Little images of the feathered serpent, which look like footprints, are seen heading into the cactus, identifying the cactus with the feathered serpent and the eagle and the bird. I believe these images are associated with regeneration and the separation of the twins. It was ultimately a symbol of hope, which could be why it had to do with the founding of Tenochtitlan. The red cactus flowers are likely a symbol of red giant stars or suns. The Dogon used a calabash tree with red calabashes to depict the red suns. I believe that in China, a mulberry tree was used with red berries. According to Sarah Allen, in Chinese folklore, there were originally 10 sun crows which settled in 10 separate suns, and they perched on a red mulberry tree called Fusing, literally meaning the leaning mulberry tree, at the foot of the Valley of the Sun. Once China became a patriarchal society, Fuxi became the dominant figure in Chinese myths. In one story, Fuxi had the arrangement of the trigrams of the I Ching revealed to him in the markings on the back of a mythical dragon or horse or tortoise who emerged from the Luo River. Both the tortoise and horse were symbols of the aquatic Nummo and Nummo ancestors. Fuxi is shown here with horns, the 8 trigrams, and the white horse from the orthodoxy of rule through the ages. It was created by Kui Wing of the Ming Dynasty, who lived from 494 to 1552. The trigrams represent the cycle of the yin and yang, energy referred to in my 3rd video. Fuxi appears here again on this Chinese ink painting on silk, depicted with horns and the 8 trigrams, dated to the 18th century. It is located in the National Library of France. Moses was also described as having horns, as is shown here in this statue by Michelangelo, dated 1513 to 1515. Moses' horns were supposedly a mistranslation of the Vulgate Bible by St. Jerome, who was born around 342. Based on my research, I don't believe it to be a mistranslation. Philo of Alexandria, who was born around 20 BCE, linked Moses' name to the Egyptian Coptic word for water. This is important because the Dogon people also equated the horned alien Nummo with water. In the Master Mistress of Speech, I refer to a story about Moses from the 18th book of the Quran, where he meets El-Qadir, the Green One, or the first angel of God. Like the fish-tailed alien Nummo, El-Qadir was green, immortal, and could predict the future. This picture of him standing on a fish in the ocean further associates him with the alien Nummo, who were primarily green aquatic beings. This picture is part of the small Clive album of Indian miniatures given to Lord Clive during his visit to India in 1765-67. Not only does Fuxi appear with horns like Moses, but he was credited with being given something of importance that would benefit Chinese culture. This is not unlike Moses, who was given the 10 Commandments from God written on stone tablets. Moses was referred to in my 2nd video because he worshipped the serpent, who I associate with the goddess Ashra. According to a Confucian text, the Bai Hu Tong, written in 79, Fuxi laid down the laws of humanity. In Exodus of the Bible, Moses was likewise considered the lawgiver of Israel. Horned figures holding serpents appear in indigenous cultures in North America. This buckhorn draw pictograph panel is from the Fremont culture located in the San Rafael Swell, Emery County, Utah. This is not unlike the Gunderstrup cauldron on display at the National Museum of Denmark in Copenhagen, depicting Cernunnos holding a ram-headed serpent, a symbol of the horn Nummo. These depictions are referred to in my book, Day of the Fish. The Nummo and Nummo ancestors were immortal beings, so they have been a part of humanity since the beginning. Many of these ancient myths show how knowledge of these alien beings existed in different places and different parts of the world. For more information on these things, refer to my books and website at shannondorey.com. Thanks for watching.